welcome to Word Daily. Today I want us to consider Psalms 37 from verse 1 to verse 4. I'll focus on verse 4. It says, "Fret not thyself because of the evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb." Now, David is inviting us to the end of everyone who practices evil, especially when they know what is right to do. And he says often two things, or there are two effects of evildoers on the ones who do what is right. Number one is that they are likely to be afraid. It says fret not, but it says fret not. And or are likely to be envious. So it says do not envy. Why? Then he tells us why. He said, "For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb." See? So it's very important that we know the end of a thing. Not just consider the beauty or the flamboyance of the practice of something, but rather the end thereof. Now, David goes on to tell us in verse 3 and 4 what we should do instead of being afraid or envious of evildoers. He says, "Trust in the Lord and do good." What does that mean? He's saying that rely on the Lord. Be convicted about Him. Be convicted about His integrity and His ability in your life. And as a result, do what is right. Be kind. I've heard people say, well, because of what is happening in our world these days, you don't even want to be kind. No, be kind. Trust in the Lord. Be convicted about His instruction to us to love. Be convicted and rely on Him and do what is right. And this is the promise, this is the assurance that He gives to us. He said, "You will dwell in the land and you shall be fed." In other words, you shall be secure. You will have security and you will have provision. He will tend to you. And then in verse 4, he says this. He says, "Delight thyself also in the Lord." And he gives us the promise. "He shall give thee the desires of thine heart." Amazing. You know, David says to delight ourselves in the Lord. What does that mean? To delight yourself in something is to be pliable, to be easily moved. In fact, when you delight yourself in a thing, you don't hold back. You allow yourself, you just allow yourself to just keep going. Even, there are people who would go for a meeting, maybe a fellowship, and as a result of their delight in that fellowship would break their time to leave. They'll say, something, can we add another time? They are willing to be adjustable, if there's such a word like that, because of their joy. And David says, allow yourself, allow God to influence you. Enjoy Him and allow Him to influence you. And the effect is that He will give you what your heart desires. It's almost like a trap. How can I allow you to influence me and then you end up giving me what I desire? But actually, that's what God is going to do. If we delight ourselves in Him, if we allow ourselves, if we don't hold back and we allow Him to influence us, I tell you, what happens is that He gives us what our heart really and truly desires. Let me give you an example. Often people would say, "Oh, I want to get married." Maybe a young woman would say, "I want to get married to a man who is faithful." But then because of society, they will add a tag. "I want a tall man, I want a handsome man." But what their hearts truly desires is a faithful man. What happens is this: when you delight yourself in the Lord, you allow Him to influence you, your associations, your friendships, your choice of words. If you allow Him to influence even what you do, your profession, your calling, if you allow Him to influence you, what happens is that because He's good, He will give you what you truly desired in your heart. So in the end, He may influence you towards a certain choice that may not meet your peripheral choices or your supposed choices. But in the end, you will discover that, this is what my heart desires. This is what I have longed for. I want to encourage you today to allow God to influence you. Don't hold back. Let Him influence all that you are. And I can assure you, based on the authority of Scripture, that God will give you the thing that your heart truly desires. God richly bless you.